Hey guys, it's me back again doing some more read aloud. I'm going to start the final chapter, December. I want you guys to try and remember what happened in the last chapter in November with Shirley missing everyone from back home and the story that her grandfather told her about the daughter and all that stuff, and just think about everything that's happened in the book because we're going to be wrapping the book up soon. So this chapter is called December, A Star Spangled Christmas. Shirley spent the weekend after Thanksgiving writing a 10-page letter to her cousins in Chinese describing her debut on stage as a turkey. She drew colorful illustrations to help even precise coins picture each scene in the school play. The transformation of a Homo sapien into the turkey had not just happened with a wave of a wand. It took 2 knitting needles, mother's ingenuity, and the resources of all the tenants. Father sacrificed his favorite brown sweater, which was unraveling, and remodeled into the roly-poly hide of Tom Turkey. Mr. Habib donated the leather headgear and goggles he had worn as a pilot in the war, to which was attached a red tie belonging to Mr. Lee to simulate the bird's fleshy nose. Mrs. O'Reilly yielded a boa reeking of mothballs for the feathers. Sean and Seamus and Stephen lent their pillows to lump up the bump, hump, and rump of the beast. Widow Garibaldi insisted on buying rubber flippers for the feet. Professor Hirschbaum tutored Shirley on the various movements peculiar of this breed. "I wish you all could have been there," Shirley wrote. A few weeks after the show, Mrs. Rappaport announced another project, a class election for someone to represent the 6th grade at the Christmas assembly. The election will be held next Monday. I don't know if you guys have ever done elections, but we did them when I was in school. At lunch that day, Shirley watched Tommy show off even more than usual, swaggering from table to table, getting laughs. "Hey, Four Eyes, be a sport and vote for me." Emily ignored him, drawing the last of her milk through her straw with a series of loud slurps. Tommy refused to be snubbed and cupped his ear to the carton, shouting, "What's that? No kidding. You're crazy about me? Inside that answer machine, all those brainy cells are rooting for me to win?" With hands clasped over his heart, Tommy frayed a swoon, then leaped like the frog prince. He went off to entertain his older fans behind the lunch counter. "How juvenile," Emily muttered, studiously wiping her glasses with a napkin. To cover up her own soft spot for Tommy, Shirley agreed, too-heartedly. Glasses in place again, Emily stared, as if reading Shirley's thoughts, all-knowing. And so, before Shirley knew it, she was urging her friend to run herself. "That would be an exercise in futility," Emily replied, in her most progressive voice. "Only you and I would cast votes in my favor." It was true. Emily was not popular. She got all A's, never once got into trouble, and seldom hung around. Once again, Emily was cleaning her glasses, and Shirley's heart went out to her friend. "That's not true. Lots of people like you. Wait and see. You can win." "Do you really think so?" "Of course I do." That afternoon, Shirley embarked on a campaign among the girls to elect Emily. She reminded them of all the pranks Tommy had played on them, of all the sterling qualities of the smartest student in their class, and why a girl, not a boy, should represent them. Mabel was a big help. Everybody looked up to her, so when she made Emily her candidate too, Emily had a chance. When the secret ballots were counted, Emily won by a single vote, there being exactly one more girl than boy in the 6th grade. So I don't know if you guys pick up on what that means, but all the girls voted for Emily, and then all the boys voted for Tommy, so Emily won because there was more. To Tommy's credit, he was the first to congratulate the winner. "Nice going, pal. You won, fair and square." Shirley was thrilled. Emily came to school the next day with her hair in curls. A week later, in the midst of rehearsing carols for the pageant, the principal came to make an announcement. "Boys and girls, I have wonderful news. This year, for our Christmas assembly, we invited a special guest, and today he has agreed to come. Soon we'll all have the privilege of hearing him, and Emily Levy, as your elected representative, will have the honor of presenting him with the key to PS8. I'll not keep you in suspense any longer. Our guest is Mr. Jackie Robinson." The cries of joy must have reached all the way to heaven, for just at that moment the first snow fell, swirling merrily outside the windows like confetti. When the shouting had ended, the lesson resumed. Shirley found herself thinking how silly Emily looked in the curls, rather like a batch of old springs father kept in the basement. And each time her friend tried to get her attention, Shirley pretended to be solving the denominator. Then Emily passed her a note, which she pocketed without reading. "Any questions?" Mrs. Rappaport asked. Emily raised her hand. "Yes. I don't have a question about fractions, but may I ask you something?" "Of course." Shirley wondered if Emily was going to do some more showing off of her own. "I'm grateful that my classmates have elected me their representative, but I think they would have chosen someone else if they had known that Jackie Robinson was going to be at the assembly. I don't know a thing about baseball, and Shirley knows everything there is to know about Jackie Robinson, so if it's all right with the class, I think she should be the one to make the presentation, not me." Everyone clapped, but Shirley had never felt so ashamed. She was unworthy of Emily's friendship. She did not deserve the goodwill of her class. Unable to speak, she hid her face in her hands. The next thing she knew, Mabel was up chanting, "Hey, hey, you're just great. Emily Levy sure does rate. Hey, hey, you're the rage. Shirley's gonna be on stage." Now, 2 weeks of delicious anticipation later, Shirley sat between the principal and the guest of honor on stage before an assembly filled and overflowed. Every seat was taken by a student or guest. Teachers, like proud shepherds, stood against the wall smiling at their charges and looked equally pleased to be herded there. So, I'm going to stop there for now, and we'll finish the last bit of the chapter in the next video and figure out what happens at the assembly and if Jackie Robinson's really there. I want you guys to write some comments under the video, just reflecting on the chapter. It can be anything, like your favorite part, a part that surprised you, a prediction for what you think Shirley's going to do at the assembly, anything of those sorts. I know I was definitely surprised when I saw that Jackie Robinson was going to go right to their school. You could write if what you would do if your most favorite celebrity ended up coming right to your school for a presentation. And then I'll check in with you guys later.